transhumanism will help us exponentially enhance our physical and mental capabilities. Here are some ways it will change the world. Number 1, we could merge with superintelligent AIs. This would allow us to connect our minds to advanced artificial intelligences and the entire internet. We'll be able to solve the most complex problems in existence in real time. We could view the world mathematically and understand it in ways that non-enhanced humans can't begin to understand. And we could run simulations accounting for trillions of factors at a time and generate predictions with pinpoint accuracy. Our levels of intelligence would increase by so much, it would be like we transcended to an entirely different species. And this will only get better as brain-computer interfaces become more advanced, internet speeds improve, and AIs become exponentially more intelligent. When humans start using synthetic brains, we could potentially make ourselves trillions of times more intelligent than the typical human being. People in career paths such as research, physics, and engineering could have exclusive access to the most advanced versions of these AI merging technologies. Number 2, we could reverse aging. Because of the technological advancements in fields such as genetic engineering and nanotechnology, we could potentially live for hundreds of years. This would enable us to live long enough to use some of the most advanced futuristic technologies that many people today claim will never exist, and we would see societies change in ways that are perhaps incredibly shocking to us. Accomplishing this would involve identifying key genes and molecular pathways that could be targeted to slow or reverse the effects of time on our bodies. Additionally, nanobots could continually repair cellular damage at the molecular level, effectively combating the root causes of aging from within. As we live longer, we would swap out our body organs for new versions that are considerably more advanced and durable. Number 3, we could become superhumans. Genetic engineering would give us super strength, endurance, intelligence, and attractiveness. Enhanced strength would allow humans to lift much heavier objects than usual without spending as much time training their muscles. Enhanced endurance would allow humans to run longer distances without getting tired, and there would be less of a need for endurance training. Enhanced intelligence would give people IQs that range from 180 to 250, or perhaps much higher. Enhanced attractiveness would lead us to having physical characteristics that are considered perfect by today's standards, and it would dramatically elevate beauty standards in society. To everyone else, someone with all or most of these genetic enhancements would seem almost perfect compared to everyone else. This would give them an unfair advantage in every type of situation imaginable. They could potentially have almost anything they want whenever they want. Inevitably, some of these people may develop a severe sense of entitlement. Additionally, we could make ourselves immune to thousands of diseases, and decades from now, we could introduce entirely new genetic elements into the human genome, providing us with novel abilities and characteristics that were once the stuff of science fiction. Number 4, we could have synthetic limbs and organs. Advanced prosthetics could enhance human strength, speed, and durability, enabling people to perform activities that were previously impossible. Examples of prosthetics include synthetic arms, legs, eyes, lungs, spines, and hearts. Using bionic arms, we could punch through concrete walls and bend steel. Using synthetic lungs, we could hold our breath underwater for hours at a time. And using bionic legs, we could run considerably faster than the fastest Olympic athletes in existence. In fact, many decades from now, a fully enhanced human could easily win fights against large predators such as bears, lions, and sharks, and walk away without a scratch. Humans who have no desire to swap their body parts for mechanical parts could use exoskeletons to get a fraction of the benefits. Many industries involving physical work, including law enforcement, military, professional sports, and construction, would be transformed forever. Number 5. Telepathic communication could become mainstream. Brain-computer interfaces may enable direct mind-to-mind communication, allowing us to communicate with each other using our thoughts. This would allow employees in companies and soldiers in militaries to coordinate with each other in near-perfect harmony. This would allow married couples and people in serious relationships to have 24/7 access to each other's minds and reduce misunderstandings. Understandably, some couples would refuse to use this technology. Humans may be able to efficiently communicate with each other regardless of their languages. That's because thoughts could be converted to a universal language that everyone could understand. Similar technologies could allow us to read minds, edit memories, and relive the experiences and emotions of other humans. However, this could lead to serious implications when it comes to privacy and security. Number 6. We could have enhanced senses. Transhumanism could help us enhance human senses such as vision, hearing, smell, touch, and taste. Bionic eyes could help us see in extremely far distances, view the world in night vision and infrared, and even see through walls. Synthetic hearing devices could help us hear the faintest of noises from large distances away and isolate sounds inside noisy venues such as concerts. Bionic skin could help us analyze the faintest changes in wind and air pressure, making it impossible for someone to sneak on us. Bionic smelling devices could help us locate people in almost any environment and identify substances in the air better than any animal. We could also identify the exact composition of molecules in the air around us. Bionic taste buds could help us analyze the purity of water and identify the caloric composition of food just by tasting it. We could even perceive time much slower than typical, allowing us to have near-perfect reflexes and hyper-fast decision-making in life or death situations. Number 7. We could download knowledge and skills directly to our brains using advanced neural implants with high internet speeds and bandwidth. It could become possible to permanently learn any topic, no matter how advanced, and learn any skill, regardless of how complicated it is to normal humans. When people download skills, those skills could integrate with parts of the brain responsible for motor control. This would allow those people to learn self-defense, become an expert in any sport, or operate any flying vehicle, all within a matter of seconds. Advanced motion control techniques could help us make this possible. When people download knowledge, this knowledge could immediately integrate with parts of the brain responsible for memory and strategic planning. This would allow them to learn topics like physics, computer science, and history without ever picking up a textbook. Humans would also have the option of streaming much of this information instantaneously from cloud services. This capability would transform the education system and potentially make most universities and schools obsolete, even the ones that have AIs and robots as teachers. Number 8. Transhumanists would dominate in the workforce. Transhumanists would outperform non-augmented humans in practically every job on the planet. In the business world, their minds would have constant access to all of the knowledge of the internet and generated content from AIs. Thanks to their unnaturally high IQs, they would have much better general reasoning and problem-solving skills than regular humans. And thanks to genetic engineering, they may be able to work for 12 to 16 hours a day every day without ever getting tired. They would also communicate telepathically with other enhanced humans and with AIs and robots that are utilized by companies. in creative jobs. They could mentally create movies, images, and music instantaneously using their thoughts. And in jobs requiring manual work, transhumanists could have robotic arms, legs, and spines that allow them to lift objects that are perhaps over 1,000 pounds on a routine basis. From a profit perspective, it probably wouldn't make sense to hire non-augmented humans in most positions. Number 9. Most forms of disability could be cured. Disabilities such as blindness, deafness, severed spines, the inability to speak, and more could become curable. This would be thanks to technologies and devices that could bypass damaged neural pathways and replace entire body parts. This would allow individuals who previously had these disabilities to fully participate in all aspects of society without facing limitations or barriers. Number 10. Colonizing other planets would get much easier as we begin to colonize Mars, Titan, Europa, and Ceres. We would need every advantage possible to survive in some of the harshest conditions imaginable. We could modify the human genome so that we can have increased resistance to radiation and the ability to thrive in low-gravity environments. These abilities would be essential to ensure that humans can build and maintain colonies on other planets in ways that robots may not be able to accomplish. Additionally, genetic engineering could help humans work at full speed for many hours at a time without getting tired. If humans that travel to other worlds are more machine than human, that would lead to them being able to move heavy objects with ease, and there would be fewer ways to get seriously injured since machine parts would be easily replaceable. Number 11. We could have massive inequality in society. The best brain-computer interfaces, robotic limbs, synthetic organs, and more could require surgeries that most people could never dream to afford. Most people in the world could still have access to some of the most amazing technologies to ever exist, but the top tiers of those technologies could potentially provide improvements that are exponentially better. For example, it may be the case that less than 50 humans on Earth could have direct access to superintelligent AIs over a span of years. This would give those people a massive head start in multiple industries. This could lead to a world where the majority of people feel left behind and could in no way compete with fully enhanced transhumanists. This could quickly lead to economic inequality at levels that the world has never before seen. Number 12. We could revive people back from the dead. Breakthroughs in fields such as cryogenics, brain preservation, and advanced life support systems could pave the way for reviving individuals who have been declared clinically dead. The people who are choosing to cryogenically freeze their bodies might have their wishes fulfilled. They might wake up in a futuristic world that is totally different from the world of today. Perhaps people who have recently died could be resurrected as long as there isn't too much tissue damage. If there is tissue damage, the affected body parts could be replaced with mechanical and electronic parts. If that's not possible, perhaps we could make advances in brain preservation and focus on maintaining the integrity of neural connections and memories. Brains could be used decades from now to upload people's consciousness to computers and robots. Number 13. Humans could heal more rapidly by leveraging cutting-edge developments in fields such as regenerative medicine, nanotechnology, and bioengineering. Scientists could create advanced therapies and interventions that dramatically accelerate the body's natural healing processes. We may even gain the capability to regenerate lost limbs. Specifically, we could harness the power of stem cells, growth factors, and gene editing techniques to stimulate the repair and regeneration of damaged tissues. And nanobots could be programmed to perform targeted repairs at the cellular level, repairing damaged tissues with remarkable precision and efficiency. This healing capability would help improve the prospects for patients with severe injuries, chronic conditions, and life-threatening illnesses. As the level of technological advancement becomes greater, the healing process could become exponentially faster. This could potentially be one of the many mind-blowing capabilities enabled by fully developed, superintelligent AIs. Number 14, we could upload our minds to new bodies. The convergence of fields such as artificial intelligence, neuroscience, and bioengineering may pave the way for mind uploading. This would open up new possibilities for different forms of consciousness and existence. Some people may even prefer robot and synthetic bodies. That's especially in cases where their biological bodies are too old or they have handicaps that impede their progress in some areas of life. Number 15, transhumanism would enable new forms of crime. Cyber criminals could brain hack unsuspecting victims to eavesdrop on their thoughts, control their thoughts, erase their memories, and even control their body movements in some cases. This could lead to theft, among other undesirable outcomes. And people with robotic arms and legs with super strength have the potential of causing considerable damage to others in public places. We would need law enforcement that is exponentially more advanced and powerful to deal with these additional threats in society. Number 16, most dictators could be fully enhanced. Dictators could gain access to the best cybernetic gear and cause more harm to the world than ever before possible. This cybernetic gear includes bulletproof armor under their skin, brain-computer devices that allow them to read people's thoughts, and AI threat detection systems integrated with their minds. Their minds could be integrated with superintelligent AIs, allowing them to formulate incredibly creative and effective ways to suppress their civilians. This could result in millions of civilians having their thoughts and emotions read and analyzed 24/7. They could even use genetically engineered super soldiers and military robots to patrol every street corner in their countries. And even if they died, they may be nearly impossible to truly get rid of. That's because they could store multiple backups of their consciousness that they could upload to robotic and synthetic bodies at any time. Number 17, we could create super soldiers. It could become commonplace for frontline soldiers to be genetically engineered and have multiple forms of cybernetic enhancement. Brain-computer interfaces could be integrated into military command and control systems, enabling seamless communication between soldiers and autonomous weapon systems, as well as facilitating faster and more accurate decision-making. Soldiers in special force units would have the best equipment. This could include nanotech-based armor and weaponry that could be controlled using their minds, and bionic eyes could be used to analyze the slightest patterns in their surroundings during covert missions with high stakes. Number 18, spy agencies could become unstoppable. It could become standard for spy agency operatives to have enhanced physical and cognitive abilities. However, it may be difficult to use certain implants in their bodies due to metal detectors and body scanners at airports. Spies in the future would likely have microscopic surveillance devices capable of infiltrating the most secure locations in the world, and they could transmit information back to intelligence agencies without detection. spies could have invisibility suits and cloaking devices once related technologies advance enough. And spy agencies could use mind-reading software to analyze the memories of captured suspects. At the very least, there would be less of a need for enhanced forms of interrogation, such as waterboarding or worse. Number 19. Transhumanists could lose all privacy. Brain-computer interfaces could allow companies and governments to monitor and even control the thoughts of millions of people. Biometric tracking and surveillance technologies could make it near impossible for most people on Earth to go into hiding, and people who use bionic eyes could have everything they see transmitted to companies and governments without them knowing about it as well. Number 20. Creativity would be at an all-time high. As humans integrate their minds more and more with AIs and computers, the level of creativity in the world would exponentially increase. It could lead to entirely new forms of art and entertainment. Humans could gain the ability to imagine movies in their minds, have AIs enhance those movies, and then telepathically share those movies with millions of other people, all within a span of 1 minute. We could reach the point where we create entire VR worlds using our thought patterns. We could invite our friends to those worlds, and we could change any element of those worlds instantaneously. We could even merge multiple human minds into one digital entity that can imagine things that even AIs have trouble imagining. Thanks for watching. Make sure to watch this next video about the future of humanity.